or what's the other one that we have used every now and then? You use it more frequently than I do.
I actually don't much anymore. I use YouTube Music now.
Has that actually worked well for you?
Yeah. Once you pirate it. Whoops. Shouldn't have said that out loud.
And
that's why Android's great, is because they're like, hey, Google releases this on the Play Store, which means we can just take the source code out of it, repackage the APK without all the BS, and then you can just download the APK for free. Because literally the YouTube desktop platform, if you have an ad block, which is the only thing you would need, can do background play, ad-free, and all the other things that they charge you for in the app. So it's not even really pirating. It's essentially just saying, I want to turn the app into the desktop version, which they already provide for free. So why not do that? Because then I don't have to deal with all the nonsense. And then it gets to use your YouTube history, which is how I listen to a lot of music anyways. So then it adds, the algorithm is much more intelligent, in my opinion.
I don't think it was YouTube. Maybe
the
it was.
thing you're talking about.
Yeah, Django is what I was talking about, but that's not what it was. I knew it wasn't that platform. Oh, you know what it was? It was Spotify, of all things. Because every now and then Spotify gets into a weird...
Okay. I thought I was figuring out the controls.
What have you done? Now we're looking at...
did I start? I may have accidentally clicked start game. I thought I was...
He's wanting to be a clown? What was that graphic?
Okay, so it would seem that the WASD
an aspiring clown.
I suppose we ought to
or maybe
comment.
A scarecrow.
This is an odd flashback for me. Because this game was announced ages ago. 2013, probably. I was in high school. And I remember when this was announced. I don't remember how I came across it, because it was an indie game back then. I mean, it still is, but it was like super indie. But it claims to be heavily inspired by Majora's Mask, in that the city has people that go about their daily lives in their rigid pattern, and you have to interact with them, and there maybe or may not be a sort of time loop where it's like you have to know the people's schedule in order to do things in the right order. I don't know anything about it, because literally I had this on my wish list for literal years. From like high school, this didn't come out until I was like well into college.
You're still bitter about it, apparently.
No, it's like I used to watch like I was curious about updates because it was in early access or it was being developed, and I kept seeing news about it.
Did you buy the whole thing, or is it?
No, I didn't buy this until recently.
But I'm saying, is it set up in a way that you have to buy like various packages slowly and kind of progressively, or is it now a?
No, it's been released. It wasn't a Kickstarter thing, I don't think.
Well, not even Kickstarter. But you have those ones where they like release random update packages later that it's like,
that's just patching, but that's after the game has been made.
Right, but what I'm saying is
the game didn't come out until...
Is this got that kind of...
Came out in... Why would the date not be involved?
No?
Oh, it's on the Switch now. Good for them. 2019, so I guess it has been out for longer than I thought.
2019?
Yes, it's been around for several years, but given that it was in development for 6 years, I stopped paying attention. Gotcha. I was like, okay, I guess it'll just come out whenever it comes out, and I stopped following it because I was like, I thought I was seeing news, because normally when you see news,
it was like ready to actually buy in 2013.
When you're seeing news, you think, oh, that must mean it's like it's coming out soon, because that's usually when they put the advertising.
But especially in the tech world, they do that where it's like, wearables. Well,
indie games are especially like that because indie games need like public support.
Well, that's true.
They kind of need people to be interested in order to get the money. So maybe it was Kickstarted. I don't know. I don't remember that, but. I gave up on it, and then recently, I mean, I saw when I was in college, I was like, oh, that game finally came out, but then I was dirt broke.
I wonder what
so I didn't buy it. I bought it recently because it was cheap and on sale.
The investment rounds look like for that.
It depends. Some people do it totally Kickstarted, where it's like, we're going to basically crowdfund, and if we don't get the money, we don't make it. Some people do we're going to develop it on our own, and if people are interested, we'll do it, but it'll take way longer if less people are interested because we're just doing it privately. And then sometimes people are like, yeah, we've got a mostly finished game and we're just trying to get a publisher to say something about it.
What has been, as far as pattern, what has been the games that you felt like have been the most effective in that
I'm not one to comment on
I almost wonder.
I can be a child or a man, I guess.
But the man looks like he needs a
I don't quite get what the weird I don't get what the weird makeup's about. I was also curious Well, okay.
You just deleted it.
S seems to be... So I keep trying to use the WASD, and S clearly is some kind of selection tool. All right, we get to come up with a good old-timey name.
Eustace.
Well, I guess we did pick the child.
That was a good...
I didn't mean for the child, so now we got to pick up a name that feels like it. What's a Victorian child's name?
Because Eustace was just not...
Eustace seems a little bit older of a person.
Maybe.
I also want something like super old school, like...
Stuart.
That's not old school at the slightest.
No, but he looks like a Stuart.
I'm talking about a name that you couldn't... I don't care what he looks like. We're going to give him a personality with this name. I want something absurdly long.
It needs to be Latin.
No, that's too much because he's a child. That wouldn't quite... I mean, give him a super long Latin last name, but he needs, like, I want him the oldest possible English first name. What's the longest name you can think of in syllables, like? Alexander's kind of long, but that's only 3. Oh, 4. Think of something longer than 4.
Xavier.
That's less than 4.
But it's more...
And it's too cool. Xavier's come around.
Well, that's probably true.
I want a name that's like, sounds dusty. Archibald.
That is stupid.
Archibald. Oh, do I not? Oh, I can't give him a full name. They won't let me space. Okay, well, if it's only going to be a single name, we can't rely on a last name then. I was going to use the last name to pad it out. I'm drawing blanks. I know I have some of these names in my head that I've saved for like various reasons, but
this is going to be in the entirety of this episode.
Yep, folks. It's going to take 20 minutes to find out
what names. It's your wonderful name.
Theodorus. Again, I'm trying to come up with like multiple names.
Initially, my thought was Festus, but that would be a bit...
I mean, it's old school. It's not quite long. I guess we don't have to go long, but I just kind of feel like... I don't know.
I'm trying to think of something that is...
What was the... Okay, here's the weird thing. There was a scientist whose last name is Erasmus, who's famous, and he has a very weird first name. And I'm trying to think of it, because that's sort of... I think it's like Desideratus or something. It's some weird Greek-sounding...
It's not...
Something Erasmus, scientist. I'm just going to look that up.
Dionysus.
By the way, Erasmus is an awesome name that no one uses.
Why not just use that?
Because... I don't know. I'm trying to think about the thing I'm looking for. Oh, it's Desideratus. That's not as long as I thought.
I like that, though.
But I'm going to go with it anyways, because it's still longer than anything else. And it gets the right... Yeah, there you go. That's fine by me.
Yep, that works.
What? No, why don't want... What? Why would it... Okay, so S used to be the enter button. Ah!
Miss Desideratus!
Oh, no. Okay, so I don't get to type this out. Of course.
Wow.
Oh, this is it. That's awfully limiting. Well, this game will say only at the beginning of each new day. I mean, okay. Is that the way they want it to be? You can save the game at any moment and you'll leave the game in doing so. I don't want that idea. I'll go with this idea, I guess. That seems really... That's not atypical.
Citizenship gray.
Oh yeah, I didn't even get that. Okay, do I get to choose these? Because I don't think I ever got an option for those.
Can you go back?
Well, so D and S. D and S are confirm and back. That's so weird. It's gonna undo everything though.
Yeah,
what? Oh, and then once I get up here, it no longer works.
Can you...
Now escape is back? Oh, this game's controls are weird.
Look, you've got the man.
Oh. Okay. Well, at least now we're starting over knowing what the controls are this time.
Recover the man.
I want to be a man. So apparently I do not get to choose any of my citizenships or stuff. That's not how I spelled it the first time. How did I spell it? Desiderius?
Now you should be Raskolnikov.
That's a last name, though.
Yes, but I've always just liked the sound of that one.
Is it because it contains the word rascal in the beginning? And that just kind of fits the character?
A bit of it, but I feel like also, whoa, that's fancy as all get out. Did you see? And I don't know how you feel about this. I
How
felt
nice
like
of it
this
to have
was
subtitles
a bit of
because we
cheating.
can't hear it. Ooh, it's animated, like hand-drawn.
I can only trust you.
This is interesting. I am rather curious because, again, as I said, it's rekindled. I was like, oh yeah, I remember why I thought this was fascinating. Oh, and I didn't say this. I said this at the beginning. I don't think it was on the recording. But this is apparently made by the same people who made Spiritfarer, which has become very popular. So evidently, this was like a practice thing for them because they went on to actually.
Before?
Yes. But they actually apparently went on to do quite well. So
Well,
actually, I should
clear
clarify the publisher is the same. This did not have a developer logo that I noticed. So perhaps it's just published by the same company. May not necessarily been developed, but I'm getting Darkest Dungeon-y vibes, not necessarily in the cosmic horror. Well, okay, that's coming up now. Floating on an island in space. But, you know, the memoirs of some sort of previous ancestor. The character style is a little odd to me, but I assume it was stylistic. I do not know what the right controls are.
But a bit off-putting.
Well, I think that might be purposeful.
I know, that's what I mean, in like a very...
There you go. We look like it. She looks like Professor Layton, actually. Okay, I get choices. I say nothing. We're the stoic type. We don't look it. I actually am pulling the pirate. What's that guy's name from Pirates 3? I don't speak because I have a stupid childish voice.
Oh, and so my name is Desiderius.
It's Henry Allen. Don't you know your Sam? Played War of the Oranges.
His smile, though, leaves
it's a little creepy in this context because the other guy's sweating and a little bit
his smile leaves me to believe that he only seems innocent. He's seen some things.
Well, that's entirely possible. That's why he's quiet. I don't interrupt. I'm silent. I will speak only when the only other option
is to speak. Speak.
Still know how to listen. Yes, of course.
What is your thoughts on this whole notion of
listening could save our life? That sounds vaguely threatening, Pebble.
Paying for somebody to design a signature for you, in which you can learn how to make it. Like, you can learn how to obviously copy it. But I was sitting there going, there's a part of me that goes, that's cheating. But at the same time, if you have a graphic designer design a signature and then you learn how to do it, it's like, that's kind of
I guess
cool.
if it's...
Some of them were really quite compelling.
I mean, if you use that as also, that becomes like your logo or your trademark or something.
That's what I would
Which
say.
is the only reason I can imagine you would ever pay for such a service is if you feel your signature is going to get publicity.
Correct.
So in that case, it effectively is your logo, in which case, sure.
But I mean, you think of like Walt Disney, those sorts of things, and it was legitimately just his signature, so you kind of go...
Well, but that may not have actually been his handwriting. That may have been like he deliberately made his signature fanciful.
Yeah, but still more than likely a creation of his own, yes? I mean... I
have no clue.
I just find that whole
hang on, this is a dream.
Interesting that we're outsourcing those types of things now to people.
I don't want game. So there's a Lovecraft. I was wrong about the lack of Lovecraft. I thought it wasn't cosmic, and now it's feeling kind of cosmic. Because I'm in a floating island in space, and apparently I'm dreaming, and this guy's in my dream. I guess I'll ask what he wants. So we're frank and stoic. What? Alright, well this is definitely...
If I'm coughing a great deal this evening, I apologize. I'm going to die from pneumonia.
Glad this is how you want to go. I can't get a handle on this mess. This has also, I think, one of the reasons. No, because that's. I'm trying to think of the timeline, because this would have been around the time Sunless Sea came out.
That's the
I don't
vibe
know if
I'm
it's
getting.
before or after. It's obviously a pretty different
was
animation.
the vibe that I was getting, though.
But yeah, kind of a pseudo Lovecraftian.
Well, but it's almost adventure-y meets
Victorian,
horror.
yeah, Victorian kind of pulp fiction.
Pulp fiction is a good descriptor, maybe.
What? Ew. Gross, pal. Keep it to yourself. Oh.
That wasn't the tube or the circle.
Oh, okay, so this is a dream, and this guy's dead in real life. Okay, so this is taking on some very strange...
So
this is almost more Poe than Lovecraft.
So he's the spirit. What is it? What's that one show
Enough information.
where she is able to hear the dead?
I have no clue. What are you...
Oh, it's some dumb
Are you
show.
watching terrible soaps again?
Yeah.
Well, why would you expect me to know?
It was a show.
Exactly did you kill yourself? This is weird.
It was a show that was popular back in the day, and it was with Jennifer Love Hewitt.
There's a Jennifer Love Hewitt. I was thinking Joseph Gordon-Levitt for some reason. I was like, oh, does he have a sister?
Yes.
And then that's not the same name at all. I want to know about our supposed friendship. I don't think I would be friends with someone who offs himself like this. I don't remember a thing. This is a very strange
I love
introduction.
how you qualify it with like this. So if you off yourself, you're fine as long as you do it in the proper manner.
Well, to appear to me after a dream in which you've killed yourself, I mean, move on. Don't haunt me.
I didn't ask for
Orphanhood,
this.
so we were both orphans together. Strange abilities. Okay, so this could have a Lovecraftian twist element. We should have called him Randolph Carter. I have no clue what the Orange Wars is meant to symbolize. Yeah, this is what I want to know. What the heck's going on here? What? Okay, so this is skewing very Lovecraftian. Even the notion of staircases to deeper levels of dreams. The city is hungry. Okay. Ah! I have to find the silver key. Okay, so this is going to be very Lovecraftian, I assume.
Which we
The silver. Okay, wow. This is very Lovecraftian. I shouldn't say it's not necessarily Lovecraftian in its inherent nature, but these are a lot of Lovecraft references. The silver key and the white chip are both...
So we were looking for a Lovecraft vibe with... Which game was it that we were playing that we didn't quite hit the mark?
Remember.
Yes, it was that
plenty
weird...
of games that fit that description.
No, it was like, wow.
I want to wake up.
It was that weird In the Woods one, Lost in the Woods.
Darkwood. That
one was
I didn't
weird.
necessarily think that was Lovecraftian. It was definitely going for its own sort of horror-esque. I liked that game up until the point when I started to feel it padding itself out.
Right.
Which
I will say this.
So while we're going on
I
this
like games
conversation-
that don't give too much away at the beginning.
Well,
and
we've had our conversation about this. You were very coy with your media. I expected to flirt with me first.
You're funny.
You admitted as much. We had the whole conversation about how you're literally like, I'm a literary prude.
I do think that there's a degree of me not being. It's the whole forest for the weeds there for the trees
Forest for
thing.
the weeds. Well, that's what you'll get.
Forest for the trees things where you just go. I do get lost in the weeds a bit, but it's. I prefer there to be nuance so that it's not. You're more okay with the whole FE brace yourself notion.
Yes, that's what literally when I seek a book or show or anything, that's me asking the thing to be like, hey, give me an interesting story.
Take me.
Yeah, it's like tell me something that interests me. I'm not gonna, because that's I think the issue is that you're seeking something out. Like if someone just recommends randomly and says like, oh yeah, we're gonna, in fact I've had this happen where people are like, oh, we should watch this movie, let's do it right now, and I'm like, okay, now I am a little bit more like, okay, the movie's gonna have to earn it because I didn't seek this out. But if I'm the one seeking it out, then I think it's silly to then go, but you'll have to earn my seeking you out. You just have a cat's-like perspective on media, apparently.
The
fact that I'm in the same room as you means nothing. I keep silent again, because of course I do. Secrets. Oh, Darkwood. Yeah, that's what we're talking about.
I do think that this methodology is going to behoove you because it's going to get you the most people talking.
So this may be where the Majora's Mask influence comes in. Days being counted. I don't know if there's a time loop element. Maybe that was inaccurate. But they did say, way back, I remember them saying that Majora's Mask was an influence, so I'm holding on to that. I'm holding them to it.
The mechanics of it are a little clunky.
I wouldn't call them clunky. The controls have yet to be tutorialized, so I don't actually know what to press.
Well, you have WASD right now.
I'm assuming this is walking. Oh, but I'm wrong.
I just said this.
Well, but no, that's you said WASD as in... I assume they're in the corner because they meant... Okay, so it is... Is there no mouse for this?
That's what I'm saying. It's kind of clunky.
Oh, it may not be mouse. Okay, in which case WASD are my interact buttons, and I just use...
This is super...
Ooh. I'm like... This art style is appealing in its own
It is, way. And that's the thing. You know what it reminds me of? And this is going to, again, I've said this before, I think, in other episodes, but because I am an older... I'm wizened in regards to growing up with...
Wow, that's awfully pretentious.
No, it's not.
Yes. I'm wiser because I've lived like this.
No, what I'm saying is when I grow up with things like the Game Boy in its non-colored, very two-dimensional vibes, this... Like, the original Pokemon games give me these kinds of vibes, and I like it a lot.
Okay, but that's hardly...
I'm just saying
I'm going to have a hard time not using WSD. It
reminds me a little bit of the greatness of like the graphic styles of old books where they don't bother actually putting the illustrations all the way to the end. Yeah, exactly. I just find that to be a very appealing art style.
Is apparently my main interact button, and I'm just going to comment on all of the various items in my room. Things flash when I get near them. I feel tired, so I feel like 6 p.m. would be a acceptable time to call it. That's very early. Oh, okay, so don't do that.
What time is it now?
W, is this...
This is your inner coat pocket, I imagine.
Okay, I'm holding it in front of my face. Just imagine. Let me look here.
Doing this, I mean.
Well, but I mean, normally you would look down at it. This is implying I'm raising it above my head.
You're not seeing his face.
Precisely. I'm not seeing any part of me.
So,
if I were looking down at my coat pocket, I would see my arm.
Or put yourself like this way, and then
9:45 a.m.
I gotta say, I'm liking his. Go back to him real quick.
Well, I don't remember which one I pushed. So A is a journal. I don't like that. How do I make it go away? A is the journal. W is the coat pocket. And I have some documents, and I have a warehouse, which is probably going to be empty.
I'm digging his sweater vest tie.
Well, yeah, that's very much a Victorian era. It might be a philosopher or well, it's probably not Victorian. It's... Well, I mean, it's very Tolkien-esque, kind of professorly.
True. Yeah, professorly.
D appears to not do anything
It's a bit
yet.
scholastic, I will give you that.
So, W, A is my list of things to do. That is very small text.
Are we supposed to read that?
Well, this is in windowed. It probably would be bigger. Newspaper every day is an important step with what's going on. La Lumière. Okay, I keep wanting to press that to make things go away. It's a little bit odd that I have to press them, I double press them to make them stop. Okay, so I have to interact with the stairs to go down them. Well, I'm charmed at the very least. Shoes and clothes are stored in boxes by the stairs. That's an odd place for them, but okay. Shirts would be okay. Well, this dreamishness is what's weird to me. Unless have I woken up? The guy said I was going to wake up.
You have.
Is this a Silent Hill-esque two worlds thing where it's like there's a real life world, but then there's also like the weird alternate?
Maybe you haven't woken up.
It seems. Well, that's what I'm wondering. Is that the twist? Dana Allen, Henry's mother, is throwing a party to welcome me. from 11:30 a.m. So this is where the time element. Then maybe that's what the Majora's Mask comparison is. It's like you can't do stuff until it's the right time of the day.
She lives in one of the first manors to the left of my house.
Oh, does this not have a map? Am I gonna have to remember things like that? Wait, my new business.
It seems like it because it's making these. It's making these things.
Nice. So I have to remember the time.
We should write a map down.
I have to remember the time. Okay, so yes, I remember something weird
with the
about
weird
shadow. Like
shadow
these
people.
are people that I don't know, and I have to interact with them to reveal their identities. But there will be people I know.
What about people that hung themselves?
Apparently, I can only meet them in dreams. So, see, I've already forgotten. Where did What's-Her-Head live?
See, you can see the clock at all times. Are you noticing that?
I didn't. I thought I would have to check my inventory every time.
See, so clearly the clock is key.
Oh, wait, what did I interact with that made me... There it is. Oh, okay, so I don't have to... She lives in one of the first manors to the left of my house. I keep wanting to press that to make this go away. I will say the controls are odd.
I said clunky. They're...
Well, no, you said mechanics. Controls and mechanics are not
to
quite
me,
the same.
they're similar.
Does help have any... Okay, so
controls
there is
and mechanics are arguably interconnected at the very least.
Sure. Okay, so there is not the option for key rebinding, so I'm just going to have to get used to this. So, What's-Her-Head? This is... I'm liking... the art style here. Oh.
I may just steal his whole vibe. I'm digging it. I'm gonna start doing my hair like that. Not that you guys have ever seen my hair or his.
I've tried the suit coat over sweater over button-up shirt with tie.
Is it uncomfortable?
It's just very hot down here. It's a nice look. It has a very sort of academic vibe that I don't mind, but that's like winter only that you could wear that. This is a large manor-looking house. Looks like there's a play on next week. Okay, so this is some kind of a public... Okay, so this is a theater, so this is not the manor house I'm looking for. It'll take me till 11:30 just to find the right house, I'm sure. Can I interact with randoms? Oh, I can. Business opportunities, eventually no one ever got anywhere with a good no. Okay, so apparently I need to do more than that just to get them to reveal themselves.
Because people don't reveal themselves.
Oh boy, it is already 11:30. Am I reading the clock right? It's already past 11:30.
Yep.
I'm going to be late now. Well, at least, hey, that's one of the few times the game acknowledges it. I can't just burst into people's homes. Because it's funny, there are games...
Is this the right house?
There are games that do acknowledge
I thought you were
that.
my friend.
Okay, there are games that do acknowledge it, but they do acknowledge it, well, like characters will react strangely, but that's not quite enough. Like, if I barge into someone's house, I'd expect them to be more than like, oh, what are you doing here?
You're talking about like when you...
I'd expect them to be like, get out, or I'm calling the police.
Which Assassin's Creed game was it where you could really jump into people's houses and people were just like, what are you doing in here?
She's just revealed herself, so I'm guessing this is...
Oh, dear.
Oh, so she's an older woman? Why does this remind me of Gravity Falls?
Yeah,
this is like an edgy
like
Gravity Falls.
Nightmare.
Well, I mean, Gravity Falls kind of arguably was edgy, but I mean, more overt. Gravity Falls sort of smuggled its edginess into its... Whereas this is like a deliberately edgy Gravity Falls. Gravity Falls was directed by...
But see, I'm getting almost Gravity Falls meets Courage the Cowardly Dog.
Yes, that's actually not bad of a comparison. Okay, you couldn't be sadder.
It's a weird vibe because Courage the Cowardly Dog, I feel like... I don't know if you watched that show as a kid.
No, because it was actually slightly before. I only ever saw clips and reruns of it. I always
felt like it was miscast as some sort of horror show when it was really more just like...
No, it's developed that reputation
but...
now. I think it was just a wacky kid show that people looking back are like, that was actually really messed up.
Well, it was wacky in the sense that it was like, okay, it dealt with some dark... humor.
No, it also had some very weird and creepy... Like, it was deliberately creepy.
Sure, creepy is not the same as horror, exactly.
She's offering me a drink. I'll accept, because I'm polite like that, I guess.
I don't know that I would accept from Dana.
Well, this is my friend's mother who's grieving her son's... Yes. I mean, unless... as sure as the game will allow me to be. Well, yes, of course, that's natural. I'm too stoic to offer you much sympathy. I don't know. Well, I shouldn't say that. I guess because we're childhood friends, despite the fact that I don't remember that. That's what's weirder, so I don't remember any of this. Unless I do in the real world and I just didn't remember it in the dream, but that wouldn't make much sense. Wait, what? Oh, so this is his biological mother, not his adopted mother. That makes this a little bit more odd. I'm very confused. The game is doing a good job of interesting me by being very strange. Okay, she keeps plying me with booze. Well, she's okay, fine. This will be the last one. She's toasting her.
You
dead...
say that right now.
She's toasting her dead son. I don't feel like I can be like no, but if that'll be it.
The last one is just she'll have you in some couch over in the corner of the room, like Gambe.
What exactly are my plans? I don't know. I don't even know what my plans are.
I'm not sure. Have another drink.
I guess I'll just focus on my business. I don't want to sound insensitive, but I can't drink anymore. All right, yes. My partner is getting business going. Oh, I inherited his business. Okay, well, she's oddly...
Let's toast to his business, how about?
See, that I feel like, because if you're toasting to my health, I can probably deny that with a little more... Like, no, thank you. But if it's like, it's toast to my dead son, be like, nope, won't do it.
I'll take some drinks for your dead son, too.
Keeping you always for his dead to meet some important people. Blah, blah, blah. Dear widow. Oh, okay, so he's got a wife that I need to now probably talk to. No, I can't. I said no. I'm sorry. Yes, I'm a lightweight. Wow. A little judgy.
Wow.
All right, Mrs.
You'll learn soon enough. That was so incredibly, just...
Well, that's Victorian levels of condescension for you. Okay, so there's now a widow I need to talk to. Maybe. Do I just have to talk to random folks? You stink of... Wow.
Fakery.
Well,
what can strangers with swirly...
She's been toasting a lot, apparently, with all her
swirly flies around them do against such reckless fakery.
I think this is just meant to... I don't think there's actual swirling in it.
No, I know. I'm just...
Okay, so everyone's boozed up. I'm being smart. I'm the designated driver, if there were cars back then. I actually don't know when this is supposed to be set.
Is it Marmaladoff in... That's the boozer, the initial?
Yes. You're out of luck. You find wretched souls. Everyone here seems depressed. Well, you're the last lady in here. Okay, so is she not in here? Or is she in a different room? Does she live on this block? Well, break it down. I'll find something to do in there.
Go back and drink with the woman and see whether that's the issue.
I'm gonna play the piano. Wow. Okay, you seem just a bit of a sad sack.
Machiavellian.
What's his name? Desiderius? I've already forgotten how it's
That is what it is, but that's kind of a brilliant name for him at this point.
Has too much. Well, okay, so she seems to be wanting me to talk to the woman who's apparently not present. But maybe there's a thing in my thing. I went to the grand reception. Now I need to talk to somebody. I should probably buy a newspaper, is what it says. Well, okay. Shabby and strangely decadent. Well, okay. Maybe that was not... Every time. Maybe that was not a direct, I need to go talk to the woman now, but apparently... I'm gonna get out of here before things get real weird. Anyways, I want to give my final conclusions on Darkwood, since I've played it a fair bit since we did the video on it. And, as I said, it feels like it's padding itself out, because You get through like the first, it's not the first forest area because there's multiple areas, but like you go through the vault or the tunnel or whatever it is that really seems like it's going to be the end of the game. Like you find the doctor guy
and then it's just nothing
who
but
smashed you up. But then, yeah, you go through this and you just end up in another area of the forest. And I was like, well, okay. I thought I was, reaching a climax. I felt like there was a reasonable amount of like, intrigue and resolution. And then,
all right, fine. I'll go to the other cleric.
And then, splashed all over my. We're not drinking any fancy new drinks, just good old classic Dr. Pepper, except not. What is it? Dr. K.
Is it Dr. K? Yes, it is.
These are not genuine.
I wonder if somebody's done like a best non-Dr. Pepper.
I am
Dr.
absolutely 100% certain someone has, because it's an obvious thing to do. This guy looks like a Bobby, and he is. Stiff butt? That's a weak insult, pal. He learned that in some kind of a preparatory school.
That does sound like...
Get out of here, you rapscallion. If you insult me more, I shall call you a stiff butt. I don't know where I'm going. Oh, okay, that's a useful feature. The
if you really tick
vision.
Me off, I'm going to be called a twit.
And I do not twit lightly. I see this looks like a child.
Not to be
That is a child.
Not
named
to
Child.
be confused with the more grievous tit or the other one.
Okay, so I'm not paying attention. What should I be doing? I should buy a newspaper. Where does one do this? I look for not the right one. Can you believe it? Must have seen the posters advertising. Yes, the show I saw. I want a newspaper. Who's got them? Is this a newspaper in the street? Can't interact with it. Well, I guess I'll wander around for a newspaper. But Darkwood, you get to the second area, and it doesn't expand is the problem. It's like here's a whole new area of stuff to explore. We didn't put any of the other
stuff on our...
No, we only did the one video. I just played it on my own because I was at first quite interested in it because I thought it nailed the atmosphere pretty well.
Yeah.
But then the whole second area, the swamp area that you get to, is like there's not much to do, and yet you have to do it. And then I reached a point that I felt the game served me a fat middle finger. And so I was like, okay, I need to look up what I'm supposed to do because what it led me to do was not intuitive. And I kind of got screwed over because I didn't do it right because it wasn't intuitive. And then I looked that up and it's like, literally when you get to the second area, there's only like one quest that you have to do and then you can leave. I'm like, then why did you have it? You give this whole new second area that made me explore for weeks. And then there's nothing in it except one thing I didn't know to do, and then you screwed me over, and now I'm not sure I want to do it. I have no clue how big this city is. They do give me a map, and the city is very large. Good heavens. Wow, okay, this is quite extensive. Good grief!
Yo!
Where do I go? Wow, alright, well, I mean, props to them. But, so
I've made a horrendous mistake.
So I was looking for...
What do they call it? What is it? Where are you at right now? Master
home.
Or something?
Ember's Den. I need a newspaper. Is there like a newspaper stand I can go to? City Hall. There's also that Le Lampier or wherever I'm supposed to be going. Maybe that's not on here until I find it. There's a church. There's an orchard. And a whole bunch of stuff it seems I can do nothing with, so... City Hall seems like the kind of... Oh, wait! Newsstand! Oh, I'm just silly. I walked right past it. Okay, how do I... I'm not very used to this whole double press something and then press it again to make it go away.
I do like, as much as I'm not normally a fan of this kind of third-person perspective where you're...
Well, isometric's a bit of an odd... It's difficult to do appealingly.
Well, they've definitely pulled it off.
There it is.
I think that's the reason, because you have that kind of depth to it, too, where it's not just
no,
strictly...
Are you the newsman? Or can I just walk in? Ah, you walk into the news shop. Oh, hello, Mr. Rogers. Giles. The weird noses is especially the cartooniness. I'm not sure I quite get behind. I don't know where that kind of style comes from.
That's when Giles just pulls his off and says, "This isn't my nose."
Oh, you thought this was real? Then he proceeds to pull his face off, and there's a Muppet underneath.
What? I was going to say this.
He comes out of the orange after being in the cocoon, and then he comes out of the cocoon, and he's an orange. Oh, no, I think I got it reversed. But anyway, you get what I meant. The journal, come on. Give me a thing. Oh, there is music. Giles Stanbury. A good citizen, now and always. Okay, buddy, just sell me something. Oh, my faithful friend. Only trustworthy source of information. Well, I'll be the judge of that. Okay, he's giving me the purse paper for free. Well, thank you. Then he's going to jack up the price.
That's what I have to say. That's how they get you. Then the next time you'll go back there and I go, I wonder if Giles will be a friend. That'll be $100.
No, so I would have... I take off my coat and stick my head in it. No.
If that actual... I'm now just thinking about that in an actual real life context. You see some guy in the corner just like...
It's 4 p.m. I'm trying to read a newspaper that's in my pocket and I somehow can't do it. Henry's Will. Newspaper. Here we go. Journal. Day 1. Who's the newcomer? Why would I be in the newspaper on day 1? I'd be a bit scared if I moved into a new city and the first thing I saw
scared. I'd just be like, wow, slow day in the newsroom.
No, I'd be a little bit. Well, yes, sure, but then I'd be like, why was I such a element of interest?
It's a bit like the Truman Show. Sure thing, Truman.
Do they actually? Truman. How do I zoom in? Because there's actual text. That's not just scribbles. Well, I can't make it bigger. Not valid in the state of Utah. Zarnik.
What is going on?
Place your ad here. There's something in French. Dream potatoes, I guess. So it's a 3-page newspaper, that's it? Seems to be. And I am on the front page. So yeah, slow news day may be the right assessment.
We have a newcomer.
Oh, wow. Okay, so I have to...
Who is this Desiderius?
Then, no offense, if I have to push a button to be able to actually read the text, why did you make it legible on the front page?
Well, details.
Like, had it just been scribbled... No, I'm saying this... I believe... No, yeah, this is exactly the same text that's on the front screen. So I didn't realize I had to press it, because I would have thought... If it was like scribbles, then I would have thought I actually have to click on it. But since I could read it, I didn't think I needed to press anything. What has he come for? Where's he going? What?
These are the kinds of
Will he enter into conflict with the onward march of our city? This is all seeming vaguely sinister. 3 years after the meteorite met Opus, there's a Gardner family. Okay. I'm getting vibes. I'm getting Innsmouth vibes. I don't like it here anymore. And it's in French. Oh, it's partially in French. So this is not a fantasy setting. It's just an alternate history setting. Okay, how do I make the paper go away, Giles? I can't get the paper out of my face.
Stop! I don't want to look at this anymore.
Giles! Turns out he's the one secretly going, I command you to look at it! Okay. Giles, let me out of my pockets, Giles. I don't know how to make it go away. Giles, help! Goodness gracious. Okay. So I went to the news, and I don't think it told me anything of value. So once I've bought a newspaper, I should look for a shop called La Lumiere or something close to that. Building my connection. So I am some kind of a businessman. Or I've taken over the business of my late friend. La Lumiere. Am I going to have to find this place, or am I going to... Is it going to be on the map?
Well, I imagine it's going to have some sort of descriptor when it's actually at the point in the game where you're supposed to meet with him, but... You gotta go 3 hours. Are you seeing this crap? You're seeing this not lost in New York nonsense.
Orchard. Okay, so all of these shops.
It's up 3 and over 2, you simple.
All of these shop names are just this person's shop, so I suppose I have to find out who owns Les Lumières. In which case, I guess I'll just walk around to all of these shops and see who's who in Whoville. No! Alright, I am, for some reason, incapable of grasping these controls. Because if it wasn't using WASD at all, then I could probably do it. But the fact that it is using WASD, it's just using them for different things, makes me confused. I'm having to simultaneously use and not use my instincts, because my hands are always on it. Alright, so Henry's somewhere around this street. Ah, well, look at me being all... Just call me... I forget.
Medium?
No, I was gonna make a joke. Rand McNally, goodness. It's not funny anymore. Not that it was funny before, but... Alright. You are Florence. Oh, she's French, maybe. La plus belle. Okay. Monsieur, is that a what?
French, yes.
No, I'm saying is that a genderless? Because Monsieur can also, I thought, was also just for a man. Or is it a slight difference of spelling that you don't actually pronounce? Because that wouldn't surprise me. Because I thought Madame, unless I guess is she married, is Madame for single women and.
No, I think it's vice versa.
Maybe. Okay. Oh, I can interrupt? Oh, that's sad. She appears to be faking it. What happens if I interrupt? Is this going to be a faux pas on my part? I'm not going to. I ask her if she's really French. I have nothing to tell her. I'm just going to come in, stare, and then leave.
I just want to gawk into your eyes for a second. Curse you for gawking, you slack-jawed idiot.
Don't knocking things around. I can buy a drink or canned food. Okay, I thought you sold lights. For some reason, I walked into this place thinking this is a lamp shop. Why would it be called Les Lumières? Is it
Florence is also wanting
medicine,
to get you
toys? Drunk. What is your
toys?
This is not. So what even do you sell here?
Put all this thing together. We can give you pills, some booze, or toys.
This is just an old school pharmacy. This is the progenitor of the modern pharmacy.
What sort of pharmacy you go to find toys?
CVS has literally everything. That's why it's a whack place.
I think you're stumbling over my point, but that's okay.
What? This is precise. This
is one of those shops where you go condoms to go. It's got lingerie and.
Okay, clearly not. We haven't come across that. Have you been to this place?
Smoke shop and weed and
you're completely condoms. You seem to be completely off base because none of these things are that.
I'm just saying it's like you could buy booze and
liquor
pills and
luxury items, which I'm guessing that looks like jewelry.
I have drugs in my pocket.
Combustibles apparently.
See, this
is a chemist shop. But again, this is a pharmacy, clearly. I don't know what kind of weird fetish shops you're visiting.
Fetish shops. No,
that's clearly canned food.
There was one I saw the other day that said
versus fresh food.
What was it? What did it say?
I don't even know what I need.
I can't remember what the name of it was, but it literally on the outside, the advert on the outside of the window was like tobacco.
Well, yeah, those kind of shops sell all of those.
Whatever,
kinds of
and then
things.
it's like. Well, but none of the things seemed to be like interconnected, and so I was like,
well, they're interconnected by their tabooness.
Well, I literally was like, you might as well just call this place the Taboo Tent.
Well, that's mostly what these places are. That's why they all sell them in one place, is because it's like this is the only place you can get these things.
It's like what? But the names are so like they're trying to be cutesy.
They have to be suggestive enough that an adult would get it, but not so brazen that it's just like tits are us.
Some 10-year-old like, that's the place I want to go.
Oh, she wants to have a chit chat.
I'm sure she does.
How everything's going. I don't know what I was supposed to. Okay, yeah, I'm starting to get the vibe that she is forcing.
Like one I drove past the other day literally just said condom sense.
That is too much of a stretch.
Is it?
That's not even that barely fits.
Right,
I'm not stumbling. Yes, because they're not particularly as clever.
Have you seen a condom stretch?
I'm not. That is precisely not what I'm trying to talk about. I want to criticize how dumb the name is.
Yes, I agree.
It's verging on being a pun, but it isn't even a pun. It's just stupid.
Florence's eyes are shocked at our conversation.
Well, if you're in Victorian England, if we walked into a shop and started talking about this, they'd probably all faint.
Put that man away.
I get okay. Sure, I'll
Look
offer
at his
to help
nose.
your father. Peyton does not sound like a French name, now that I think about it. See, when you start substituting like French words into an English conversation, that's where I start to go, you're probably pushing this a little bit. Like, that's not an accent. That's Dora the Explorer levels of nonsense.
What's the, she makes a great manicotti. She makes it al dente with the ricotta
His
cheese.
foot swells up comme un pastèque. Or pastèque, I have no clue. I'm not good with French.
Pasitec?
Pastèque? I don't see, in Spanish it would be pastèque.
Pastique.
Pastèque or pastèque because you would actually pronounce it, but in French it's like, oh no, you should it's have the other half of the word you don't even say. It's la colère. I feel guilty for not being here. I don't know. I think she's being very fake. I imagine like a what's the I'm not sure. I'm thinking of like the ultimate fake French accent.
And I was scratch. Oh, and I was such a good spider.
You downplay the effects of I have no clue what these conversation choices mean. Sure, family comes first. I don't know nothing. Oh, okay. Am I accidentally scolding her for not paying enough attention to her family? Maybe not. Well, hey, maybe you could employ me, except I am in a different business, so I guess I can't do that. I don't know what I'm supposed to do because I can trade with her, but I have no clue what to trade. All right.
I had a friend that was French that literally was trying to...
Oh, okay, so the shop closed even while
was trying to teach us how to speak French at one point, and it was like, you know, most people, like with basic words like bonjour and stuff like that, it's like, no, most people say that wrong, and I'm like, I'm sure they do. But it's like this weird...
The R.
But she also says it's like in the back, it's almost like in the back of your throat.
Yeah,
like
that's
they
actually
go,
not unlike... It's not at all unlike German.
It's like this weird kind of like...
The only thing I know about French, which is interesting, is that the reason so many vowels and syllables in French are useless is because the final letter is always silent. Always. Which means that if, for some reason, you want to actually pronounce that letter, you have to add another letter to make it spoken. Which is very silly. But, I mean, it does help once you realize, you're like, oh, okay, I guess it's at least consistent. Odd as it might be. So I spoke to Florence for like ever. She kicked me out of the shop. It's not that late, but apparently it's late enough that I could go to bed if I so chose. I mean, if that shop's closed, I imagine most of the others will be too. I am very drawn in by the atmosphere and all this stuff. Buy 10 shipments every day, sent to my warehouse, must buy cheap, sell high. So is this my actual goal? It seems as though the actual goal I'm working towards is in fact being a shop owner.
Huh.
So
you just happen to be clairvoyant. That's the word you were looking for earlier.
When was I looking for this word?
When you were talking about him speaking with spirits.
No, I was having a dream.
Well,
there's no indication that the dream was at all accurate.
He's just got
He could just be tripping.
Yeah, but other people are talking about the person he's interacted with the mother of the person who committed suicide.
That person was real, but just because we saw him in a dream doesn't mean that what we saw in the dream actually made sense.
Young would disagree.
No, Jung wouldn't say that it has a real-life corollary. It just means that it might have a symbolic meaning.
He would.
No, well, symbolic meanings don't necessarily mean like, oh, yes,
but symbolism
I spoke with his actual spirit.
Symbolism doesn't disregard meaning, though.
Wow, I like how you take this position now. when we have our discussion about my concepts of theological discussion as
I was the one that asserted. No, I was the one that asserted.
You don't get to flip your opinion.
No,
now.
I'm not flipping anything. I was the one that asserted that simply because something is allegorical doesn't mean that it doesn't have meaning.
I never suggested this, and I had to argue that to you.
No, false.
Because you were like, but now you're suggesting that it's not actually real, and I'm like, I never once said this.
I never said that.
You did.
I did not by purely.
There are 3 hours on recording, so you can perfectly...
That I said exactly what... I'm not perjuring myself, that I said exactly what I'm about to say, which is that I believe historical allegory is the truth. And that is that it's still allegory, but it's not doesn't disregard any of the actual content in the story. That's exactly my point.
I think you should go listen back, because I had to defend this point of my position many times.
What
sealed
position?
letter on my bed.
Because it certainly
the notion that
not.
Simply an archetypal framework does not mean that it's devoid of real world application.
Archetype and symbolism, first of all, are two different things.
Not very.
Yeah. Second of all, I never disregarded that archetype was.
I didn't say you disregarded, but you kept redounding to something I never said. Heard the news.
That may be true, but I'm
Henry
saying
told me,
I
so
think
someone's writing me a
in
letter.
that sentiment you were almost trying to redact everything down to archetype, and that's what I was trying to push
yes, but
back
even if I
against.
had done that, that would not have robbed the actual meaning, because I never suggested
that's
that
true,
the archetypes did not also have real world corollaries.
So that's what I'm suggesting here.
Oh. No, but saying yes, but that you're saying that now, but you weren't. You were making me say that in the conversation.
No,
because you were accusing me of reducing its real world value, and I was saying no, I'm not saying that.
I don't know that
you
I'm directly. I'm
maybe
rejecting
not directly, but you were awfully like, I think that limits the, whatever historical whatever you tried to argue. The wife is reaching out to us and asking
that's
why
how much
exactly
you
I'm
understood
here.
My argument.
So
everyone wants to understand why Henry died.
Well,
the point is,
if
life
he did off
sucks
himself,
sometimes.
that's you'd want to be like, what went wrong? What happened? Especially his wife. I imagine that would probably leave you with a great many questions. And the tone I should use in the letter. Yeah, I should use a polite and detached tone. I don't want to be over familiar. The polite and detached does feel like, since we described him as a stoic kind of Mr. Darcy-esque figure. But then again, the woman's husband has died.
No, I think you should go with polite.
All right, we're going to stick with our Darcy-esque. I guess it's true. I don't
just said it so.
It's true that I don't know this person.
This is giving me very, Crime and Punishment vibes. Though.
This is an interesting choice.
That's how I should write it.
I guess affectionately, that would be far too forward.
Well, that sounds like he's trying to... May I steal your wife for the waltz?
Read it aloud.
Secretly, I planted those ideas in Henry.
Understand your concerns.
So I could steal you away.
Anything you ask? Well, this isn't that. This isn't exactly cold. Detached, maybe, but... Okay, that was probably the right choice. No, that's good. Send the letter. Tuesday, day 2.
He put the letter.
Terrible headache.
It's almost like I am hungover.
I didn't have enough drinks. See, because I was smart. I said no. Go and see Dana. Ask for a home remedy potion.
Maybe I should go see Dana and actually get some
Dana
more
also
booze.
owns the shop. So seriously, the shop ownershipness is much more of an integral mechanic than I had presumed. I have no clue how to run a shop. I want to wander around this weird Victorian city. Oh. I had 2 drinks. What kind of a lightweight are you? Lucas Weston? Who's this? The guardian of the written word. Is he calling himself that? Wow.
Like something.
That's remarkably pretentious.
That's more than pretentious. That's like getting into the territory of so heavenly minded you're no earthly good.
Well, apparently he's at City Hall, so I'm going to go talk to the lady.
Of course he is.
Well, it's where he probably thinks himself fitting. I forget which of these 2 houses it was. Okay, clearly not that one. Aha. And she's not in here! How delightful. I could burst into her room.
She'll just like, nothing but a brassiere.
She'd be wearing some kind of a Victorian era petticoat or something. I don't know what all the... It would still be equally scandalous, of course.
Her corset buttoned up to her.
Corset. She would, yes, because she's wearing a corset to bed. I'm gonna barge into her room. She's gonna be, let me in. No, let me in. Okay, so, all right. The timely aspect of the game is oh joy! I think my batteries in this thing are going out every now and then.
I'm standing at the door.
I am. Come on. Every now and then the keyboard just decides it's gonna not react anymore. I guess I don't need the mouse. I can put that away.
Whoop.
Where did
She
you come
literally
from?
just...
Okay.
She just...
Well, okay, hang on. Okay, so is this the game being glitched? Because the game... I'm able to use my keyboard, so I thought maybe the keyboard had frozen, but that doesn't appear to be the case. I appear to simply be frozen.
She has evaporated into...
Okay,
now we're getting things passing through chairs and walls and things.
I don't know what to do, because it's not the game. I mean, it is the game. It's not the keyboard. I can use the mouse and I can use the keyboard, so I'm frozen to the door. Maybe I licked the doorknob, and it's so cold that I stuck to it. I mean, if I exit, well, I don't know. I guess this is the start of the day, so I won't lose any progress. But all right, you didn't see any of this. Well, the game won't let me out. What? Okay.
Push help.
How does that work?
Me.
This is just a vague guide on what my controls are.
There you go. Is it because of the fact that it wasn't actually on that primarily?
No, it is. I'm able to make it... Well, this is a weird... I guess we have reached the normal limit, so I suppose this could just be a weird way to end, but I don't know why it's doing this.
I swear on the life of my friend Dana, you will reach the end alive.
I don't...
Just staring into the void.
Did I press something that
seems fitting for a Poe Lovecraftian vibe? He just ended up having an absent seizure and died.
She's in a fugue state, stare at the door.
A fugue state.
She sends me to the hospital and then no one ever hears from me again. Well, that's an embarrassing way to... It's odd that
he's talking to Henry in his dream state, and he just never comes out. He's just coma for life.
This was actually the beginning of the... Well, this was just the prologue of the Lovecraft short story.
Well, that about wraps it up.
The fact that it won't let me quit is an odd thing, too.
Not quite as much as Henry, but... No.